And today I'm talking about sketching at work. So I'm also like, I started this Let's Sketch Tech a few years ago. So today, this is going to be a 60-minute workshop, and we're going to cover a few different things. So the biggest thing that I hope you can take away, not only from my talk, but from everyone else's talk, is to be able to make a mark of your own. Make a physical mark somewhere with some type of medium. And we're going to do a few different exercises. I'll have some that's a little bit of a repeat, but then some other things that are going to be slightly different. And we're also going to talk about empathizing and connecting to our immediate physical surroundings. And this is sort of like the second large category of what you get out of sketching, particularly like learning how to sketch at work, learning how to sketch in a business environment, or in a community environment. And then the third thing that we're going to cover is kind of the backstory of Let's Sketch Tech and why I think this matters enough that I've kind of been shepherding this community for a couple of years. But today we are going to start with our hands. So hands have been having a hard time lately. We're having to wash them all the time. We're trying not to spread things around with them, but take a look at your hands. Like, hands are amazing technology. And I wish I had my, let's see, no, I don't have my camera. So hands are amazing. Just look at your hands, move them around, wiggle your fingers. You have 27 bones in each one of your hands. You have joints, you have opposable thumbs. Can we hear it for opposable thumbs? I mean, just think if dogs and cats had opposable thumbs, I know my house would be total wreck. I mean, it kind of is already. My dog chews everything, but it would be even worse if she had opposable thumbs and could climb all over the place. I mean, it's amazing what you can do with hands. And, there was a day in your life when you did not know you had hands. So folks who have kids, maybe you had a day when you noticed your kid was discovering their hands. You did the same thing too. Imagine just like going through life without these amazing things. So I think it's good to appreciate them, show them a little love in this hard time, maybe spoil them a little by putting some moisturizer on them. And with that, we are going to get ready and go into our first drawing exercise. So this is a bird. I love birds. I'm into birding. Here in California, we're kind of privileged because we have access to so many different types of birds. But if you have pen and you have paper, let's do our first little drawing of this workshop. And I want everyone to just take a first crack at drawing this bird, whatever, however you want to do it. We'll just do this for a minute. I've actually so one of the fun things I've done here in California was I signed up for a class on illustrating birds given by a man who he did all of the illustrations for this book on birds of the Sierra. And I got to learn about all of the bird parts, and it was fascinating. So I hope that's enough time. I said it wasn't gonna be a lot of time, but just first crack at drawing a bird. So that's like our first thing. Now we're gonna go into a warm-up that I do before I do any sketching at all. And maybe I'll have seen this today, they're the basic shapes: circle, square, got triangle, and a line. So these are basic shapes. And before I start to draw anything, whether it is a talk, whether I am taking notes, whatever, I'll just sit here and draw shapes. And I hope that y'all are drawing along with me. One cool trick is if you're trying to draw a circle, circles can be hard, but if you kind of just spend some time and go around like this, sometimes you can get a rounder shape out of it. That's my little tip for drawing circles. Maybe draw a big wiggly line. I just drawn all over the place. So this is our warm up, and the reason why I wanted to talk about these basic shapes is because you can draw a lot of things with them. I'll take some of this off. And so let's draw a few things with just these basic shapes. And I picked these. I don't think these will be too hard. So the first thing we're going to draw is some ice cream. So think about how you would use a circle, a square, triangle, line to draw some ice cream. And I'll join you because it's fun, right? I'm going to use a little triangle, then a square, the circle. There we go. I know my husband loves chocolate and he's watching this talk and he never watches my talk. Welcome, Chris. So he likes chocolate, so I'm just going to draw chocolate. Then I'm going to draw lines to make this a little waffle cone because everyone loves waffle cones. Well, I do. Next thing, let's draw a cat. You can sell anything with a cat on it. So drawing a cat is it's a very important skill, making money. So let's draw like a couple triangles here, little ears. Little ears. Then we're going to draw a little circle. Yes, I'm going Bob Ross on this. It's really amazing to do this with like zero like audio feedback from people. But you know, so with our cat, let's draw a little upside down triangle and two little lines for mouth. So there's a cat. You know, and then so next prompt, and I am going somewhere with this. I'm going to draw a child. Draw a child, which, you know, a little more challenging, So let's draw like this. I'll do a little box person, little legs, little feet, little hands. So, you know, we're not going to be drawing ice cream and cats all day. Sorry if you're at work. You're not, you know, well, maybe you are. If you work at a place where you get to draw cats and ice cream all day, please let me know where this place is so I can apply. But for today, you know, what's something that we might have to draw at work if we're in tech is we might have to draw a database. So I'm going to use an oval and this is then a little square. So this is sort of database-y thing. Let's use another square to represent our table. So here's our table. So, and then what happens if we, let's see, we drop our table. So we delete it, drop the table. What if this kid's name is Bobby? So fans of XKCD out here who are listening will be getting this joke right now. And there's this famous joke that I love. It's a classic. So this here is the, cancel. This is a mom, the stick figure, and she loves databases, so she has named her son Robert Drop Table Students. And dropping a table, if you're not into database stuff, dropping a table is basically deleting a bunch of information. So yes, little Bobby tables. But what I want you to notice about this drawing is that, and I think I'm gonna add a layer in here. If I had a layer, yeah, we'll just do it there. So now I can draw, yeah. So let's look at the shapes in here. We were talking about basic shapes, right? Like circle, square, triangle, line. Stick figure is nothing but lines. We have, I guess we could call this a circle right in here. And then we have like the phone is a little square, and then we have a little lightning bolt kind of a line. What I want y'all to get out of this is that this is a very famous classic webcomic, and if I had a dime for every time I've heard a reference made to this particular cartoon, things would be very different. I'd have my own vanity candidacy for president happening right now, but I don't. And it's really easy to, this cartoon is not about the quality of the illustration. This cartoon is about the idea, right? Like this is the humor. And so what I want y'all to get out of this is that you do not have to be a fine artist for what you draw to make a difference, to make someone laugh, to inspire someone. You can have just as much of an impact if you are using these basic shapes. So that said, let's go into drawing. I know, like, stick figures, that was another reason I wanted to show this. It's okay to draw a stick figure, but there are a few other types of people that we can draw, and I think it's important to explore all of them because there are lots of different shapes of people in the world. And sometimes there are different ways to use a shape to emphasize something, but it's just good to have different ways to draw people in your back pocket. And some of these are really simple. So, we all learn to draw stick figures, but I think there's a time when it's good to branch out and try a new type of way of drawing people. So the first thing we'll start out with is star people. So with star people, you kind of draw a star. So that's like, I'm horrible at drawing stars. Okay, fine, I admitted it. So this is my star person. Listen here. And what if I want my star person to be really happy? Little arms going up. Little legs. Little head. Some hair. Hey. So star people. Another type of person that we can draw is we can draw box people. Box peeps. So here I'm going to use a rectangle, and we can draw little legs, little feet. These kind of look like music notes, don't they? Draw like, we'll draw some maybe like head covering or something. And or hand. So this is a box person, and it's just, box, and then draw legs, draw. And I like this because, you know, I think one of the issues with stick people is that it's kind of about fat acceptance and body positivity. Like, there are different shapes of people. When I personally look at a stick figure, I don't really see myself. I love star people or box people, or the next type of person we're going to draw, and you're going to see there's a reason why I had you drawing an ice cream cone, because there is ice cream people. And so you can also, sometimes I call these heart people, or heart people. So if you want to do ice cream, let's just make our cone. Start out with your cone. And then here's the head of the person. Hi. I can't stop myself from making the little voices, y'all. Sorry, just I can't. If you want to make it a heart person, I guess it would be, you just kind of make a little heart like this. And I love using the shape of a heart because it's like we are very connected as people to this heart shape. It means something. And, you know, we're always trying to figure out how to grow the empathy we have for our users, and how do we put the user in the picture and think about them. And I think that this is one way, is to use these heart people. In fact, I had a coworker who he loved drawing ice cream people, and one of the ways that he would differentiate, because we worked a lot with AI, was he would draw a heart person or an ice cream person, but then when he was talking about the AI, like a chat bot or anything like that, he would draw it with a square, like more of a square head, like it's a robot. And that was like the chatbot. One more type of person, very easy. I'm gonna make my pen a little smaller. I might give a tutorial on Procreate after Let's Sketch Tech. So just look for the information in there, might set that up. So tooth people. These are very easy, very fast. If you don't know what else to do. So this is like little tooth. And the great thing about tooth people is if you need to draw a crowd of people, you can draw a bunch of people at once. Big squiggle, circles, you have a team. So I want to give folks a moment to catch up. And I'm gonna leave my messy drawing up here for just a second while people are practicing, and you can work on your people. And one more time, I'm gonna see if I can. No, okay, it's not gonna work. So with the tooth people, I think it'd be interesting to try to draw your team. Let's think about your team. Like, so if I think about my team, I know I've got somebody who often has a ponytail and she has glasses. She's so awesome. And then I have somebody who always has an awesome shag haircut. To give her a shag. We have our CEO who has this awesome, I can make it pink. Here, I'll just make it pink. Let's do pink. She has this, yeah, she has pink hair. and she has a little bit of orange. So I go back to you. Who's you? Black. Who's this side? Who's this color? Yeah. Okay. And then there's me. I think that it's good to think about what kind of details make your teammates who they are and how you can bring that out in a drawing. But I'm going to leave that as another exercise for another time. But the main thing that I wanted to emphasize that there are different ways to draw people. And sometimes one way of drawing a person will make sense. Sometimes another way of drawing a person will make sense. So at this point, we've done people, and we've done a little bit of looking at a drawing. We've done a little bit of drawing ourselves, and something that I'm guessing a lot of you are picking up on at this point in the conference is how you're picking up information. And the reason why, like, this is a workshop with drawing, and that's because some people pick up things by reading and writing. I didn't know this, actually. You know, I used to think there were two ways people could learn. I used to think it was either visual or auditory, right? Like, so we've heard about visual learners, people who pick up information by looking at pictures, looking at charts, diagrams, things like that. And then I think we've also heard a lot about auditory learners. So there are folks listening today who, if they listen to something, they'll remember it, and that's easier for them. But there are two other types of learning styles that I think we know less about. And the first one is kinesthetic learning. So kinesthetic learning means that you are a tactile learner. If you can explore something, I think with like more than just hearing and voice and vision. Like if you can act something out, or if you can play with something like a map or whatever, I think that's like a really interesting way of learning that I had no idea existed until I started sketchnoting. And then the fourth method is reading and writing, which I learned about yesterday because I was going over the slides for this, and I already knew that I think I have vision for sure, kinesthetic. One of the reasons why I sketch is because it literally helps me to learn if I write things down. Not looking at something, not listening, but the physical act of writing it down. And there is a style of learning called reading and writing. So if you can, like, I think it doesn't even matter what kind of shape I'm making or how quality it is, but it for some reason it really helps me process information. And I think that while there certainly are people who rely maybe on visual or auditory, I think that it's more that we all rely to some extent on each of these types of learning. And so the more you can draw, or the more you know when you need to draw or make your notes visual, In fact, I even noticed if I am drawing, I am listening more closely to what someone is saying. And so this is part of critical thinking. And while learning how to make a mark and learning the shapes, learning how to connect an idea to shapes is important. I think the second part about why art is so important for tech and learning is the way it helps our critical thinking skills. And one of the great losses that we have been experiencing in education is the loss of art education, the loss of, reading long form, writing in different types of styles. Like I know in the US, kids don't learn cursive as much as they used to. And while cursive has its own issues, it's a little bit snooty. I think that learning those types of things also help us to have other critical thinking skills. And this is the part in the talk where we're going to shift from learning how to make a mark to exploring how working with sketches and working with art can help our analytical skills. And we're going to, oh, what did I just do? I just picked it up. Sorry. So we're going to do another sketching exercise that we have not done today. And I haven't seen this done at in a sketchnoting. So this isn't for sketchnoting per se, but this is an exercise that really tugs at the connection between your hand and your brain. And it is called blind contour drawing. And if you haven't heard of this, so don't start sketching yet, wait until I describe this, but give this a try. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your pen or pencil, put it on the page, and you can only use one line to draw this entire drawing. Just give it a try. I know it's, and don't look at what you're drawing. That's the second rule. So first rule, only use one line. Do not pick up your pen. Just keep going. Second rule, do not look at what you're drawing. This is the exercise of looking at what's in front of you. And, there's so much in this photo. I love this photo. All of these photos are from Unsplash, and I'll make them available after the talk, after the conference. So if you want to go back to any of these photos, you can. But give it a try. We're not going to do this for too long, but see what you can do. Do not pick up your pen from the page. Do not look at your paper. And so I got really obsessed with birds after taking this bird illustration class. But what was so awesome was learning about all these different parts of the bird. And, each of these parts is so intricate and so complicated that they're just like, they're so amazing. But also learning about all these different parts, right? Like if you're drawing this, you're having to really focus on what you're seeing right now. You're also engaging more with this picture than you would be otherwise, right? Like if we say, look at the beak of this photo, I want to zoom in, but I won't because I know somebody is sketching this and it would mess them up. But look right above the beak. Look at how the little feathers are curving right above the beak. Look at how there's like a little crevice of the mouth next to the beak to the left. These are details that you will not get if you just glance at something, but it helps us to think about this bird and think about how the bird is flying and how the bird is engineered. And this blind contour drawing exercise, your hand is sort of moving over the contours of this bird. And it's building up this muscle of your eye looking at something, your hand putting it on the page. So this, art students are told to do this and they hate it because it's agony and it's maddening, but it's brilliant. You know, like think about the last time you talked through an idea with a teammate to make sure either you or they understood what was happening and how, you know, like what you were talking about. How closely were you able to listen? We totally, at this point, live in a world that does not reward paying close and careful attention. Even though we're building the most elaborate systems we've ever built on, you know, the largest software teams we've ever had, and this type of practice where you're sitting down, you're engaging with a subject when you're drawing is one way to sort of bring that attention back. And this is one of the benefits of studying drawing, not so that you can be a fine artist, but so that you can practice how you pay attention, practice how you look at things, practice how you engage. What? Oh, I need to start screen sharing. Hang on. So I'll bring it back. Don't worry. I have to go into my Zoom screen broadcast. Zoom. Start broadcast. 2, 1. Okay. Are we back?
No, we still can't see you.
Arg.
I don't know if your iPad is in the meeting anymore.
Yeah, let me double check. It says it is screen broadcast. Start broadcast.
It's back.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yay, there we are. Okay. So we were blind contour drawing away, but it's fine if you want to take a minute, just go ahead and look and just do regular drawing just so that you get to scratch that itch. Isn't it gratifying? Maybe thank your hands a little bit for helping you out when you couldn't look at your paper, because they knew what to do. And maybe it was exciting to get to place a small detail that you didn't get to focus on previously. So we're gonna look at another picture of a bird, but this time don't draw it, just look. I'm sorry, I don't know what kind of bird this is. I'll try to find out. And now you can really sort of like just look, just drink in all of the beautiful detail in this photo. So this is we are observing this. And observation is an important skill that we use in so many different contexts in tech. In fact, there are adult classes for observation that take place in art museums, and you can find these articles on the web. This always seems so awesome to me. So doctors, we have doctors in here today who, doctors and police detectives will go to these, and one of the reasons to do this is for bias training, because looking at these, you get to understand where you are inserting your own perspective versus what do you see in front of you, which we won't go into that so much today, but I mean, look at the wings. Look at the different types of feathers on the wings. you can see the feathers at the top of the wing are a lot fluffier than the very sort of straight blade-like feathers at the bottom. And while we look at them and think that they're beautiful, for this bird, this is what keeps this bird alive. And look at the eye. Even if you look at the eye, there are like different parts of it, and especially for drawing, you know, it's not like a black dot would cover it. But if we look at this eye, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit, you can see the reflection. In fact, I think we can see a little bit of the landscape in there, because I can see, you know, this point of light in the eyeball, and then underneath it looks like maybe that's the ground beneath the sun. You can see the skin and the tissue around the eye, the little corner, and you can see that this bird has some little white feathers. The bird has an eyelid, although I don't see it in here. All kinds of details here. Same could be, we could do the same with the beak, but I'm not gonna, you know, we're not gonna do every part of the bird, don't worry. Although I love this photo. So this observation skill is like, this is slowing down to pay attention. I don't know if there are any fans of Jenny Odell's book, How to Do Nothing. I'm nearly finished with it. Yes, I'll include the link in the whatever we share afterward. But Jenny Odell talks about how it's sort of an act of resistance these days to practice our observation skills like this and get used to taking more time with what we're doing. I think that art skills are very much an act of resistance, and you know, slowing down to pay attention is painful right now. We'll get into that a little bit more in just a minute, but for now we're going to leave this cute little bird, and we are going to go to another like making your mark type of exercise. This time it is going to be drawing your name. And, you know, well, what's exciting about that, right? Cancel. Ink. Give me ink. Yes. Can I draw? Which layer am I on? Here we go. Yay! Drawing your name. I know a lot of people in tech who will say to me, I can't write. My handwriting is terrible. It's horrible. But I want to practice something with you. So number one, you know, draw a line. And draw your name on the line. Slow it down a little bit. I'm going to slow down drawing mine. I want you to do it again. Draw another line. This time, go twice as slow. Twice as slow. You might notice, okay, sorry, it just gets you into it sometimes. You might notice that when you start drawing more slowly and you have a line as a guide, that your handwriting becomes crisper, neater. I'm not saying perfect, you know, I mean, my handwriting is not perfect, but, you know, so now we're gonna keep it slow, but I also want you to draw it twice as big. Twice as big. Big letters. Oh, I'm going to run out of paper. That's okay. I have a trick. Sometimes if I'm running out of room, I just make some of my letters vertical. What I love about drawing your name slowly with some size is that you're finding a way to physically take up more space. You are making a mark. It is your mark. And, you know, I think it's important, right? Like we're all important. We all should be represented here. And this is where we're going to get into a little bit of the backstory of Let's Sketch Tech. So here I am, 2016. In the United States, we have this huge women's march. This is the first time I ever attended a protest. I made a sign and I had to remember all of this. I'm like, how am I going to make this sign? Well, I guess I need a poster board. What do I want to put on this? So I came up with something, and one of my coworkers said, I have all this glitter paper. So my protest sign has glitter paper. And I went out in the cold and the rain with my husband. And y'all, it was cold and wet. We got soaked. The sign got soaked. But I learned how to make a mark and to go out and say what I needed to say. It's kind of a sobering thing to think about because when I was at this protest, I realized how much we would need to be able to gather together and to make a mark together. It took a lot for me to make this sign and for me to go down to the city hall in San Francisco. It took a lot of courage. And there are a lot of times, even at work, when it's hard to feel like it is okay to make your mark. So on this day in 2016, I had done all of this and I was thinking, you know, it took a lot of effort. It took a lot of, you know, thinking about how to do this and some creativity and fumbling around with materials and getting it wrong. This is not the first sign that I made. I made some that, you know, didn't work out. And I thought, I want to help people feel like they can make a mark, like they can make a sign. And so in, I think it was 2018. Let me take away this layer. In 2018, we had our first Let's Sketch Tech in person at the Women's Building in San Francisco. And it was not unintentional. Like I totally picked the Women's Building on purpose. And my goal was I wanted to get people together. I wanted them to feel like they could draw with their hands. They could make something large. They could publish something on their own. So, like, what do we need to make a sign? You need some paper, some poster board. You need to be able to write something down, feel comfortable maybe drawing some picture, even if you know it won't be a perfect looking picture, even if you know that your handwriting will not be perfect when you try to write your name or write your sign out in large letters. What if you need to make copies of your sign? Like, after all of this, I started drawing more on my iPad. And I made this when I was very frustrated that Nancy Pelosi was not supporting impeachment. I was very frustrated. And so I made this. This is very simple. It's 3 rectangles and some letters. I see a line for emphasis. I took this to the copy shop across the street, and I made 50 color copies of this on a legal size paper. And I took this with me down to an auditorium where Nancy Pelosi was giving a talk. And I stood outside with my signs. And I handed them out to people. And they took them. They were excited about them. Some people liked them. Some people gave me nasty look, whatever, you know. I didn't have to say anything. So this is sort of like in Jenny Odell's book, she talks about resisting in place. You don't have to shout to resist. You can draw and resist. You can make a zine that you photocopy and you hand out to people and resist. These forms of art are, you know, they are basic for a reason, and they are available to us, very available all of the time, and they are very important skills. So all of this I've put together because I wanted us to start gathering ourselves. And so we have, you know, we're gathered together here. Denise has done a lot of leadership here. We have all worked hard together to make this conference a success, to make the discourse a success. But, you know, this is a practice of gathering together. We are learning how to make signs. And we are learning how to show up with copies and share them freely. And that it's okay. We're in a dark time, but we are here together. We know each other. We have different ways to communicate, and we know how to make a mark. So bird break, we need a bird break. And I want you to try drawing this again as I wrap up for the next few minutes. I think, so we were drawing this earlier, but I want you to really take some time and dig into maybe your favorite part of this bird. I think what you're going to see is that your drawings have improved over the space of today or over the space of this hour. And before I leave you, I'm gonna tell you one more reason why I think birds are amazing. So many birds are small, they're fragile. It's easy for a predator to swoop in and carry them off, even more so with their babies. And birds know this, and they have developed a system to protect each other. So if there are, you know, there are groups of nests all over the place, different bird species, and the smaller birds know how to do this. They kind of will have their nests all in different places where they can hear each other. So if a predator swoops in and is trying to look for chicks to take away, The birds, all of the birds of different species that are surrounding the predator will start to just hassle the predator. And they'll chirp at the predator and peck at them. Bunches of little birds all together. This is well-known bird phenomenon. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes they succeed in chasing the predator away. We are all a bunch of special and rare birds. Our brains, our emotions, and our thoughts are more connected to our hands than we even really understand. And so I want to end this by where we started. So remember when we started, we were looking at our hands? Give them another look. Clasp them together and thank them, because they are all you need. And thanks so much for listening to my talk.